the one place Backlund's history means something, and and they put Jarrett in there, which probably didn't help the whole thing. So they might have had a crack at that one. Okay, let's move forward now, and this is just sort of, we're going to get sort of just before the Royal Rumble here. So we've got Michaels made comes back, and he's kind of now sort of having a little kind of, I guess they're trying to plant the seed that there is the possibilities of the Michaels Diesel match more and more. Michaels made a crack at a few weeks back on Diesel, saying that he looked like a cowardly lion. And when he gets a hold of him, he'll knock him back to Oz. So I think that was a little nod there to his old character. Fun fact, this is interesting, Matt. Vince McMahon is sponsoring Bob Holly's race car, which probably explains the new push for Bob Holly. I knew Bob Holly done that whole gimmick. I did not realise that he had a car and everything as well to go with it. Do you remember that, Matt? Did you remember him actually taking part in racing?
I don't remember him legit doing it, but I do remember like the vignettes and that of
Sparky,
of Bob Holly in his little car and everything, and standing around it and talking about it. But I don't actually remember seeing him racing around it.
Well, apparently it was a real deal, and Vince McMahon put a bit of a sponsor on it and took it quite serious at one time. So there you go. Well, at least someone was playing their gimmick, I suppose, back then. Okay, so Royal Rumble 1995 now, and Matt, I take it you got to see this match between, of course, it would be Bret Hart up against Diesel, and you kind of felt like this was going to be Diesel's, I think, since winning the title, his first big match, sort of the iconic pay-per-view of the Royal Rumble, and you kind of felt like it was either going to be now or never with him. There was a lot of talk that Bret was always going to be a very convenient plan B if they wanted to play it safe. I think we could have easily have had a Bret Shawn Michaels WrestleMania this year than getting it the year later. That's how I felt when I was watching this as well. But of course, they were fully behind Diesel. Of course, when the match went on and all the rest of it, they'd obviously stuck with it. But do you think it was a close thing, Matt, for them, for WWF? I know that it's kind of new and they've got to give it a while, but at this point, knowing the way WWF were acting with trying to get new guys over, do you think they were having to be a little bit careful here, or do you think they just thought, you know what, we're gonna take the risk and just run with this? And what was your sum up of the match in general, Matt, and the popularity of Diesel at this point?
I think, like I said before, I think he was slowly gaining his momentum, and his popularity with the fans, which was good because, just shoving someone in your face too early can really backfire. So I was glad that they sort of held off as long as they did. But I think you have to take gambles now and then, and I think, what they were trying to achieve with Diesel this time was quite a brave thing to do because, no one's going to fill Hogan's shoes, but you have to look at what you have right there in front of you. And Bret's a great talent in that, but when you look at someone like Diesel, just that look, it's a lot harder to actually turn someone who's got the look into a great wrestler rather than have a great wrestler and turn him into the face of a company. So I guess, it was the only natural choice at the time.
Sure. This match, I really enjoyed it, Matt, going back and watching this one, and I kind of feel like this was definitely a good match to show. Unquestionably, when you're in with someone like Bret Hart, it's going to help, but I felt like as a title match, I felt like this was a good match for Diesel to have for his big first kind of major defence, I suppose. What was your take of it, Matt? Because of course Diesel retained his WWF title in a no decision with Bret, just under 28 minutes. Quite a lot of stuff going on, shenanigans at the end. But what was your take of the overall match and watching Diesel work there?
Of Well, yeah, I mean, I was surprised at just how long this match went because Diesel is almost kind of famous for working a short kind of match, being a powerhouse, getting his moves in, and then getting out of there before he looks too tired. But yeah, Brett did a lot of the heavy lifting in this match. He did a lot of the work, and to a degree where it wasn't even that noticeable. I mean, I know he was doing it because I was watching it, I was seeing this when he was carrying the match, but I think, the way that they did it, it was very believable, the way they worked on the legs, and then it didn't get boring at any point because it all sort of interconnected and made sense. And even when other people had to come out, adding a bit more colour to the match, it did turn into a bit of a fiasco, and it was a bit of a shame that there wasn't an actual decision to the match. But, I just kind of found myself wondering why I liked it as much as I did, because for all intents and purposes, I probably shouldn't have.
But despite having all these guys come out, I genuinely enjoyed it. Like I put this in quite a high esteem, to be honest. I didn't know going back that it was going to be as good watching it again, but I actually really got into it, despite all the, like you say, the fiasco at the end. And even the whole decision wasn't exactly a popular one of mine, but I felt like it was done just right, protects sort of both guys very well, and I think it, I guess the only thing in Diesel's defence here, I suppose, that it could have been a lot better for him is if he'd have got a clean win overall, which I guess that would have been the huge rub. But at this point, Matt, then the WWF, although he is all eggs in one basket, they're not at the point of saying, well, we're not going to drop, we're not having Brett job to you just yet, we're not having that rub automatically here. Is that the feeling you get there, Matt, as well, that if they were that sure they would have him kind of going over without all this sort of stuff and trying to sort of cover it up almost?
Yeah, you do get that kind of vibe from this, but also at the same time, they get the result that they want, and also you have that on the back burner, don't you? You can always have Diesel versus Brett, and hopefully, potentially, that will draw big, and people will want to see that, the rematch, and actually get the proper result. Absolutely.
Okay, well, Meltzer really gives this match high praise. He gives this over 4 stars, which is a very good rating in the Wrestling Observer's point of view. Diesel retains the WWF title, going to a no decision, and of course that night as well, Shawn Michaels would win the Royal Rumble in, believe it or not, 38 minutes 41 seconds. This was where Michaels and of course Davey Boy had the image that we always get to see a lot of now, Matt, when they show the Royal Rumbles every year about the foot touching the floor and all the rest of it. And of course you'll remember the British Bulldog thought he'd won, but of course Howard Finkel famously, both feet must touch the floor. So there you go, Shawn Michaels wins. Fun fact here from Meltzer is that somebody needs to clue the celebrities they use in on the storylines and what's going to happen. Pamela Anderson, who they hyped more than any other wrestler on this show for selling the show, visibly appeared to have no clue as to what was going on and nearly ruined the end of the show as she started laughing at Shawn Michaels doing his act. She was exactly as bad as the centerfold girl at the ringside during the Flair and Sting 1988 Clash match, which is worth going back and having a look at, by the way, for anybody that wants to check that out. Flair and Sting 1988. Check that out with the centerfold girl, because again, I don't think she was very clued in. Matt, is that odd to you? Because even I got that sense when I read this. I thought, I'm just going to quickly check that out. But yeah, to me, obviously when I'm watching it younger, I'm not looking at things so pragmatically, and it is a little picky now. But even still, is it odd, Matt, to how much you let a celebrity in on what the hell's going on and how not? I know you've got to be a little bit protective here, but it looked like she actually was just literally sent out there just to sort of look good, look pretty, and all the rest of it. And that was it. Like, nobody sort of said, Shawn Michaels is this, like, give a little bit of background. It almost seemed like she just flew in, done that, and went off again,
Yeah, you kind of would assume that if a celebrity is going to come and do this, they'd be an actual fan and know a bit of the backstory themselves. But if you're going to come into it quite fresh, then yeah, it is nice to have a little summary of what you're actually getting into. Maybe they just thought because it's the Royal Rumble and anything can happen, they were just like, oh, she can just be there and be surprised. But yeah, it didn't really pan out too well, whatever it was they're thinking for that.
Yeah, the night after, sees some notes here from Raw, and a few hundred of the 2,500 were there for Diesel Jarrett match, which Diesel won earlier in the show in order to keep fans. The place was heavily papered from leaving earlier. They announced that Diesel would face Michaels in the main event, but it didn't work as the crowd filtered out, particularly after The Undertaker came out and insisted Diesel wrestled Jarrett as was originally advertised. So real shenanigans going on there of how they were doing it. But obviously now, Matt, from coming out of this and going into February here, the match is set almost here that it will be that we are going to get Diesel up against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. WrestleMania 11, as far as where we are now, is that a top billing match? I mean, you got to think Michaels himself. Okay, so last year he would have had the big match with Razor Ramon, but he didn't win it. But he's obviously everybody's admiring his work, and then you've got a completely new thing with Diesel here. It almost feels like they've come off the tag team. He was the bodyguard. Seems like a real heavily storylined main event here that we've got. Is that how you see it, Matt? That it was kind of one of those WrestleManias that's just more about the backstory of two guys as opposed to two athletes going at it, if you will.
Yeah, it was definitely all booked on that because they spent a hell of a long time actually building this rivalry, and when you think about all the time that they spent together teaming up and actually and, the chemistry and all the history that they had to this point, even though it all kind of rapidly came to a head over like a space of a year. But yeah, I think it was all really mainly booked on that. But looking at the people in there, people want to see like Diesel get his hands on him, so I think, that was selling itself essentially. But when I looked back at that and I was thinking, man, what with all this kind of hype for this match, why was this one not the main event? Why was the main event what they actually did give us? Because that really was a bit of a letdown in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, here's some timeline news here. Sid is expected to debut as Sid Justice in the role of Shawn Michaels' new bodyguard at the next set of tapings, which will be around the 20th of the 2nd of 95, around that sort of area. Michaels announced on television that he was giving up his duties as co-host of Raw as well, because when he was working the injury, he was doing that. So yeah, he's going to have Sid coming in as the new bodyguard. It's worth pointing out as well in February here that Diesel is participating in a celebrity slam dunk contest in conjunction with the NBA All-Star Game this week, and also in the MTV softball game, and judging from a lengthy interview at Raw where they called him Kevin Nash and tried to put him over as a real person as opposed to a cartoon character. They look, Meltzer reports, to be committed to building the company around him. It was the same type of interview McMahon did with Hulk Hogan before the match with Sid Justice, and again when he came back just 10 months later from the whole steroid controversy. Even the normally conservative Japanese mags are calling him a box office failure at this point on par with Diesel. It seems like there's quite a mixed reaction for Diesel, but I mean, I think personally this is like a better way of making a guy than what the whole Luger thing was. I don't think it's, and I like the idea that, I mean, I did watch some of these sit down interviews, and I like the idea that they did kind of like say, yeah, your name's Kevin, and obviously his name's not just freaking Diesel, and they were going to talk to him normally without any of this. I'm the greatest wrestler you've ever seen. I love you. Without all that nonsense. I felt like they were trying to sort of ground it a bit with Diesel.